Okay, so now today is your last class regarding to theoretical part, okay, content part, and inshallah after this class we will be having only one class, that is the your task class. Okay, only one class is remaining. Okay, it is assessment criteria is 4.3. We started it in the previous lecture. Evaluate the impact of competition policy and other regulatory mechanisms on the activities of a selected organization. Okay, so we studied what is competition policy, and we also studied the benefits of working in different economic environments, different economic conditions. The objectives of today's class is to understand the various challenges. So we are done with the benefits, and now we will be focusing on the challenges that occur while operating in different economies. Okay, so challenges are almost the same that we discussed when we studied globalization, when we had a preview while studying working of organizations in different markets as well, different economies as well. Okay, so similarly, the same thing we are studying today again. Various challenges that can occur while operating in different economies. Okay, so when you have taken your organization to other countries, to a foreign level, to a global level, of course it is understood that you need to go through number of challenges as well. You will be facing them. Operating in different economies can present several challenges for businesses due to the variations in economic conditions, regulatory environments, cultural differences, and market dynamics. Okay, so these are the differences related to your culture, your environment, the economic condition, the market dynamics, and so on. So due to these differences, of course, you will be facing some challenges as well. Okay. Now, some of the most prominent challenges that can arise include economic volatility. Different economies may experience fluctuations in economic conditions such as GDP growth, inflation rates, exchange rates, and interest rates. Okay, due to difference in economies, of course, when you are working in any other country, the currency of your native country will be different from the country in which you are working, your organization is working. So this is understood that currency variation, currency difference will occur. Usually we measure the currency by taking a USA dollar as standard. Okay, almost all the countries, if I'm not wrong, all the countries consider USA dollar as their standard. So when you are working in other economic condition, you are working in in another market of another country. Of course, the difference in currency will occur. Along with the difference in currency, the interest rates, exchange rates, inflation rates, and the GDP growth. What is GDP? Just a
Gross domestic product. Gross domestic product.
Okay, gross domestic product. Okay, so GDP is basically it is sum of all the things like consumption, investment, the spending, okay, the exports and import. So all these things they are calculated collectively as GDP growth. Means to to which certain extent a country or an organization. Let's take example of organization. An organization is consuming the money or consuming the resources, or it is investing in its business, or how much at which at which ratio, at what rate it is exporting its products, or if required it is importing some products as well. Okay, so everything will be changed, and this is understood. The change in currency will brought about by the changes in all these rates, inflation, exchange rates, interest rates as well. So therefore, your business should be flexible enough to adapt to all these changes. So that is why it is termed as economic volatility. Okay, the economic conditions will fluctuate. Regulatory complexity. Each country has its own.
Ma'am, I have a question again. What should get fluctuate? Like their growth or their economic conditions should fluctuate?
Their economic conditions. The
Oh,
growth is totally dependent on economic condition, and economic
mm,
condition will fluctuate, okay, because they are now working in
mm,
different market in different countries. So they will be facing different exchange rates, different interest rates, different inflation rates, okay, and similarly their growth, GDP growth as well. So they will be facing economic fluctuation. Okay, next is the regulatory complexity. Each country has its own regulatory frameworks, laws, and compliance requirements. Adhering to these regulations can be complex and time consuming, requiring businesses to understand and navigate through different legal systems, taxation, policies, labor laws, and trade regulations. Okay, so regulatory complexity is totally related with your legislative framework, your regulatory framework. Okay, it includes all the laws, all the policies, all the uh, the basic laws or basic regulations related to every aspect of life, whether it is about the labor, whether it is about the taxes, whether it is about the interest rates. Okay, so complete legislative framework comes under the heading of regulatory complexity. Due to that complexity, due to different laws, different rules in the other country, of course, your organization will be facing the challenges. And it is mandatory for every organization to abide by all the rules of that country, especially the laws. Okay. So, of course, following the laws in another country and understanding those laws and knowing their importance and knowing that if the organization will not follow the laws, of course, it will face some sort of consequences, penalties as well. Okay, so it is very important for every organization to follow all the laws and rules in while working in another country. Cultural and language barriers. Cultural differences, including language barriers, can pose challenges in understanding customer preferences, communication styles, and business practices. Businesses must invest in cultural understanding and adapt their products, marketing strategies, and communication to suit the specific cultural context. Okay, cultural and language barriers are the understood barriers. Whenever you are taking your organization to global level, you know this already that you will be facing this barrier. There will be a gap in communication between your staff and the citizens of that country. Okay, there will be a gap in there will be difference in your culture and the culture of that country, and of course you will face some sort of difficulty while preparing the product according to the taste of those people, according to the culture of those people. Okay, so cultural and language barriers are understood barriers, and uh, every person, every organization, every team, they know that they are going to face these challenges. Then comes market competition, another understood barrier. Operating in different economies means facing competition from local and international competitors. Understanding the competitive landscape, market dynamics, and customer behavior in each market is crucial for businesses to develop effective strategies and differentiate themselves. Okay, so this type of competition, the market competition, when you are going to compete with your, competitors, the other businesses that are working in the same niche as yours. So when you are going to work in such market where a lot of competitors are present, of course, you are going to face some difficulty. All right. So, in order to remove that difficulty, in order to ease out those challenges, you must understand, you must study the market dynamics of that country. You must understand the consumer behavior of that country and what kind of products are preferred by the citizens, by the consumers living in that area, and what kind of products they do not like to purchase. Okay, so you should know each and every aspect of market dynamic in which you are going to introduce your business, your organization. So, after knowing all these things, of course, you should develop some effective strategies and you should add creativity to your work so that you can differentiate yourself from other competitors. Supply chain and infrastructure. Infrastructure and supply chain capabilities may vary across economies, impacting logistics, transportation, and the availability of resources. Businesses may need to adapt their supply chain strategies to overcome challenges related to infrastructure gaps, transportation costs, and regulatory requirements. Okay, so supply chain is as important as the smooth running of your business. Okay, when as long as the raw materials are continuously supplied to your organization or your production area, it ensures that your organization will or the production department will keep on preparing the products, and of course your business will work smoothly. Okay, secondly, for infrastructure of your business, all these variable things, all these you can say the supply chain is of course one of the part of infrastructure. The financial resources are part of surety of strong infrastructure. Then a strong and efficient team, it also gives you surety of strong infrastructure. Infrastructure is basically the backbone of your organization. Okay, how much resources are you equipped with, how much team members are you equipped with, how many workers are working in the production area, which is one of the most prominent area of the organization. Okay, so if supply chain is maintained, if infrastructure of the organization is maintained, then there is of course surety that there will not be any hurdle in smooth functioning of the organization. Okay, so in order to cope up with these challenges, your business should make sure that all kinds of gaps, all kinds of costs and requirements must be met on time. Political and geopolitical risks. Operating in different economies exposes businesses to political and geopolitical risks such as changes in government policies, trade disputes, sanctions, and geopolitical tensions. These factors can impact business operations, market access, and supply chain stability. So this is one of the most important thing to consider when you are going globally. Because when you are working in another country, it is very mandatory that the terms of that country with your country should be on positive basis. Okay, they should have a friendly connection, and not friendly even, they must have some trade relations with each other. Okay, so in future if there would be some disputes, trade disputes, or there is some political or geopolitical tension between the two countries, there will be some changes in the government policies, or different sanctions will be applied in future, then of course your organization will be affected in a negative way. Okay, so you should be mentally ready to accept any kind of sudden change uh, in the market condition due to these political, geopolitical, trade disputes, and many other changes in the government policy. So, of course, these factors affect the business operations. This is understood. Currency exchange and financial risks.
Ma'am, I didn't understand. Can you repeat again?
I meant to say that if you are working globally, okay, you are working in different economic
Mhm.
condition. This is meant by actually working in different economic condition. It means that you are
Like
working
a
in a different
geographical
country.
condition. Mostly like geographical. When you move from one country to another,
Yes,
like you have
yes,
to take such risks in that. Okay.
yes. One of the franchise of your organization is working in your native country, and one of the franchise of your country, organization is working in another country. Okay, you are working globally. You are working in another country as well. So now, because your organization is present in two different countries, one is your native, the other country is of course any foreign country, any Arab country, or any other country. If the relation between the two countries will get worse, or they got some tensions regarding their trade issue, regarding their political tensions, or some other issues. Okay, so of course your work in the other country will be affected. Maybe the government the government of that country, not your country, the government of that country will put some penalties or some restrictions over working in their country. Maybe they will ban that all the local companies, all the companies from that country, so and so country, will not work in our country. Okay, so when such type of tensions will occur, your organization will suffer. Maybe you need to shut down your organization in that country. Okay, or secondly, if the tensions will be created between the two countries, but there will not be any shutting down of the native organizations, or you can say the international organization, but the trade is affected. You are not able to get the raw materials from your native country to the other country. Again, your organization will be affected. Okay, and somehow or other, if the relations are fine enough between the two countries, but the government of that country has changed the policies, you have to undergo some other official protocols, legal protocols, that is costing you that is costing you a lot of money or a lot of finances, making you to work in hand to mouth conditions. Of course your organization will suffer in that case too. So due to these risks, the political risks, the trade disputes, the other relations, the tensions of the relation between the two countries, your organization will suffer, its operation will be affected. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Now clear.
Now, currency exchange and financial risks. Operating in different economies involves dealing with different currencies and exchange rates. Currency fluctuations can impact pricing, profit margins, and financial stability, requiring businesses to implement risk management strategies to mitigate the currency exchange risk. Okay, the same thing that we just discussed a few minutes before, that when you are working in other country, of course, you have a change in currency rate. Okay, in your country, your native currency has some different value related to the US dollar, while in other country, for example, you are working in Germany, you are working in France, even in that country, your currency will be compared with the value of a US dollar. Okay, so in both of the countries, your country and the other country, the currency rates will be different. Although the standard is same, the US dollar, but because both the current countries are having different currencies, so of course there will be a change in currency rates in both of the markets. Okay, so because of these currency fluctuations, your profit will be affected. Okay, your exchange rate will be affected. The pricing of your products will be affected. And in short, the financial stability will be affected. All right. To navigate these challenges, businesses need to conduct thorough market research, adapt their strategies to local contexts, build strong relationship with the local stakeholders, invest in cultural understanding, and develop flexible and agile operational models. Okay, of course, these challenges cannot be mitigated properly, or they cannot be coped up properly or 100%. But to reduce these challenges, it is advisable that when you are working in other countries, you must make strong relationship with the local businesses or local stakeholders of that country. Okay, first you will invest in understanding the culture of that country, the language of that country, the business dynamics of that country. Okay, and after that you will start working properly in any market. Now the other challenges may include inability to communicate effectively with the international. No doubt these are also the basic or general challenges that are usually faced by almost all the organization. But if we talk in terms of the business strategies, okay, or you can say some formal things regarding your business, then the challenges may include inability to communicate effectively with the international business environment. This is the same thing, the communication challenge. Diseconomies of the scale. We will see what is diseconomies of the scale. The increase in the regulations and international legislations. difficulty in adapting and meeting the needs of different cultures, and language barriers. Okay, so let us see these five challenges one by one. The first one is inability to communicate effectively with the international business environment. Okay, one of the significant challenge businesses may face when operating in different economic environments is the inability to communicate effectively with the international business environment. Effective communication is essential for building relationships, establishing the partnerships, understanding market needs, and ensuring smooth operation. Language and culture barriers can hinder effective communication in the international business environment. Different countries may have different languages, communication styles, and cultural norms, making it challenging for businesses to convey their message accurately and understand the nuances of communication in a foreign market. Moreover, variations in business etiquettes, norms, and protocols can also pose challenges. A gesture or communication style that is acceptable in one culture may be considered offensive or inappropriate in another. Misunderstandings arising from cultural differences can hamper effective communication and may even damage business relationships. Okay, so communication barrier should not be present when you are working international. Okay, because if the communication gap has been removed, your staff will be able to understand the citizens, the consumers living in that area. They will be able to understand their preferences. Your organization will be able to customize the products to make the products according to the preferences of the local people living over there. Okay, so almost all the countries they have different languages. So it is very important when you are going to work there, you should study their language first. Okay, because if you are not going to learn their language, your means your team is not going to learn the language. Of course there will be a communication barrier. You will not be able to understand their culture, their language. You cannot communicate with them properly. Okay, so in this way your output of your organization will also be affected because you are not going to prepare the things accordingly. You are not going to uh, communicate them or tell them the protocols of using your products properly. Okay, so misunderstanding will be there, and of course, misunderstanding will lead to improper use of the products. So when the output, the resulting efficiency of your organization will be affected. So that is why it is important to learn the native language of that country before starting up your organization, before making your organization uh, working physically before. Okay, and also some of the organizations usually sort out this barrier in a way that they start hiring the local staff from that country, the native people of that country. Okay, so your staff, your team working over in that organization, that your multinational or international organization, is a mix of the natives of that country and the team that have gone from your native country to that country. Okay, so when both uh, people from both of the cultures they start working under the same roof, they will produce more efficiency, or they will produce work more efficiently than before. Okay, the output of the organization will be improved. Technological barriers can also impact the communication in international business environment. Differences in internet infrastructure, access to technology, and connectivity can hinder effective real-time communication between business partners located in different countries. Okay, so once on one side you are not understanding the culture of that country, along with this, your team is unable to use the technology properly. Okay, so due to these two barriers, there will be a huge gap in communication. Okay, because your team cannot use the technology properly, they are unable to communicate with the other businesses present in different countries properly. Okay, they do not know their language, they are unable to communicate in their language, and they are unable to communicate by using technology, different apps. To overcome these challenges, businesses can invest in language and cultural training programs for their employees, hiring the local staff or working with the local partners who have a better understanding of the local culture and business practices can also facilitate effective communication. Additionally, utilizing translation services, leveraging technology for remote communication, and conducting thorough market research can help businesses navigate communication challenges in the international business environment. Okay, so there are two solutions for the challenge. One is hiring the local staff, okay, or a collaboration with the local businesses of that country. And the other way, other solution is that you should arrange some language and cultural training sessions for your team, for your employees, okay, so that they will be able to understand the culture, they will be able to learn the language, and the communication gap will be removed in this way. Challenge is diseconomies of the scale. Diseconomies of the scale are the opposite of economies of the scale and refer to the increase in cost per unit of output as a business grows beyond a certain limit. While economies of the scale result in cost efficiencies and lower average cost, diseconomies of the scale lead to increased average cost and operational challenges. Okay, so what is economies of the scale? Economies of the scale means when your organization is working effortlessly much better, but the average cost per unit of any product is within limit. Okay, means that your organization is producing cost effective products. Okay, and the average cost, now this cost include the production cost mainly. The average cost is also, controlled cost. You are not selling the products at a very higher price. This economies of the scale is totally opposite of the economies of the scale. This economies of the scale is increase in cost per unit rate of the output or of the product. Why there is increase in cost per unit of the product? Because the business has grown beyond a certain point. The business has been able to produce, or you can say to generate more revenue, or to generate the business has produced the revenue up till, beyond a certain limit. It is working, too much. You can say better, or we can say that it is working very good. The organization is working very well. It has crossed that limit. So now the organization is demanding an increase in the cost per unit of the product. One of the challenges associated with diseconomies of the scale is the loss of control and coordination within a large organization. As a business expands, it becomes more complex to manage and coordinate operations across different departments, locations, and functions. Why is it so? Of course, you have started your organization, your business. The organization is working well. It is generating much revenue. But after a certain limit, your organization has worked wonders. Okay, it has generated too much revenue. Now it is high time to hire more staff to start producing more products. So now the organization will increase the cost of the product. Okay, so once the organization has started growing, okay, more and more staff is present within the organization. It becomes very difficult to handle all of the staff, to manage all of the staff, and the coordination between the staff members will be affected. Even in a single department, a huge number of staff is present that it is very difficult for the owners or the managers of the organization to keep a check on every single person. And secondly, already the organization is working in two different economies, two different markets, two different countries. So it is again another challenge.